Hey guys, Max here. Lately I've been wanting to do some videos that are deep dives into advanced music theory concepts from Billy String songs, from Bela Fleck songs, but then I realized we have to have a collective base level of understanding of music theory before we do any more advanced music theory concepts. So I thought, let's do a video where you can assess where you are at in your music theory understanding, and if you don't understand anything, you could ask a teacher or look up another YouTube video on that topic. So these aren't going to be deep dives into each individual topic, it's more just a light overview so you can assess where you are at in your music theory understanding. All right, first things first, we have the tuning. G, D, G, B, D, get down, get back down is the easiest way to remember that. And you have to have that memorized front and back, otherwise we cannot go anywhere on our music theory journey. Moving right along, we have the names of the notes. I have the piano on the left there to illustrate the B, C, E, F rule, meaning that there's only one fret between the notes B and C and E and F. And if you look at that banjo diagram on the right of the first three frets, we see that we have two frets in between the notes D and E, only one fret in between the notes E and F, two frets between the notes G and A, only one fret between the notes B and C there. So just have that concept internalized so that way you can identify any note on any string. Next up, we have the major scale formula. This formula gives you the notes of any key, and that formula is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And on banjo, a whole step is the distance between two frets, and a half step is the distance between one fret. If I start on the note C, the first fret on the B string there, and I go whole step, half step, whole step, half step, all tabbed out right there, I get a C major scale, which has no sharps and flats. It's just the natural notes. If I start on the note G on that open center string, I go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. I have to land on F sharp to get that final whole step from the formula, so that's why that F sharp is there. And then if I start on the note D, on the open bottom string, I go whole step, half step, whole step, half step. I get the notes F sharp and C sharp as well. Just have that formula memorized, similarly like the names of the notes and the tuning. Next up, I have chord harmony. These are the chord qualities that are built on every position of the major scale using only notes from that scale. So for instance, in the key of C, I have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished. All of those chords are only using notes from the key of C, and that's why you get that pattern of chords. And that's just another one of those music theory facts that you just want to memorize. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. I have the key of G right under that. I see all the chords that work in the key of G, the key of D, the key of A, etc. The quickest explanation for this is that if I used any other chord quality, I would be using a note that's not from that scale. So I can't play that chord quality and still be in chord harmony. For instance, if I'm in the key of C and I play a C minor instead of C major, I'm going to be using a note E flat that's not in the key of C. If I play D major instead of D minor, well, D major has the note F sharp. That's not in the key of C, so that doesn't work in the key of C, and so on and so forth. So that's why you have to use those particular chord qualities to get everything to be in harmony, because otherwise you would be using notes that are not in that key. Next up, we have the concept of the relative minor. Now we've been learning about the major scale formula and chord harmony in major. What about minor keys? And all a minor key is starting and ending from the sixth position of any major key. I have that illustrated here. On the 1 position, I have that giant orange planet, and on the 6th position, I have that giant blue planet. And so if I start from the 1 and I play those notes and those chords in order, I'm going to have a major key. But if I just start from the 6th position and play the same notes and the same chords, suddenly everything is going to be a lot darker sounding. It's like yin and yang, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. If I look at the key of C major and I count along, the 6th note is that A. So if I just start now and end from A and play all those same chords, but just start from A minor and go on from there, I now have the key of A minor. So that's all it is just starting from the 6th position. If I have the key of G major, I count up to E, I just start and end from there now, and all of a sudden I have that relative minor, the key of E minor. So that's the idea of the relative minor. And finally, I have the idea of modes. Now, just like to create a major sound, I start from the 1. To create a minor sound, I start from the 6. I can actually start from any position of the major scale, and I get what are called modes, which are more subtle moods and scales that you won't find in just pure major or pure minor keys. There's a great fusion guitarist named Frank Gambale, and he says modes are moods, and that's a great way to think about it. Each one of these modes explores a unique emotion that you can't quite get with major or minor. So that's why they are useful for understanding, so you can fully express yourself if you find that major or minor keys are unsatisfactory. And I've gone one step further and I've described them as modes are moons, meaning that they don't quite have the gravitational pull of a major key or a minor key. You have to be a little more cautious when using modes because you might get caught in the gravity of one of those other big planets on major and minor. But nonetheless, the concept is still the same. If I start from the 2 chord and use those same exact notes and same exact chords, well, that is now the mode of D Dorian. I can see the names of all the modes here in this list, and they all have those Greek names. So if I start on the 2nd position, it's Dorian, 3rd position is Phrygian, 4th position is Lydian, 5th position is Mixolydian, and that last mode, Locrian, I put as a tiny little asteroid because you will honestly never hear or use that ever in your life. Now I'll go from C major, create another mode. If I start on that 5th position, that 5th mode was called Mixolydian. I'll just treat that G now as home. I'll use the same notes as the key of C and the same chords, but I'm just going to start and end on G, and now I get a G Mixolydian mode. So that's the base level understanding of modes. To understand it is one thing, to put it into practice is another. And that brings us to the end of our music theory mountain, and psych, it's a false summit. And there's always so much more to learn with music theory, whether it's melodic minor, harmonic minor, extended chords, chord substitutions, odd time signatures, key changes. But if you just have that base level of understanding of music theory, you will understand 99% of music, and you will also understand these deep dives on music theory moving forward. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.